Someone kept unlocking my doors every night, yet the security cameras never caught anyone touching them. And the worst part was realizing the person responsible had been inside far longer than I ever knew. I live alone in a small, 2-story townhouse on the edge of town. It's nothing fancy, just quiet, exactly what I needed after a messy breakup and a move across the state. For the first few weeks, everything felt peaceful, safe, predictable. Then the doors started unlocking themselves. The first time, I thought it was exhaustion. I came downstairs one morning to find the front door cracked open an inch, cold air seeping inside. I blamed myself. Maybe I hadn't shut it fully. Maybe the latch hadn't caught. I brushed it off, but the second time, it was the deadbolt. I know I locked it. I remember turning it twice, the metal scraping firmly into place. Yet the next morning, the deadbolt was undone. The door was closed, but unlocked. A prickling unease settled over me, but again I made excuses. Sleepwalking? A mechanical issue. Anything was better than the idea that someone had come inside. By the third time, excuses weren't cutting it. That night I double-checked every entryway: front door, back door, the sliding glass door that led to the tiny fenced patio. I even tugged each handle hard enough to rattle the frame. Satisfied, I went to bed. At 3:14 a.m., I woke up freezing. My bedroom door was open. I always sleep with it closed. Always. The air from the hallway was colder than the room, and as I sat up, pulling the blankets around me, I heard something. The softest whisper of movement downstairs. Not footsteps, more like weight shifting on old floorboards. My heart hammered. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911, whispering that someone was in my house. The police arrived fast. My neighborhood is small, and break-ins aren't unheard of. They found nothing. Not a window pried open. Not a lock scratched. No footprints on the patio. No sign of forced entry anywhere. One officer asked gently if I might have imagined the sound. Another suggested my HVAC could have caused the door to drift open. I hated how relieved they seemed to write it off, but I knew what I heard. After that night, I bought cameras, 3 indoor, to outside, all motion activated. I set notifications to ping my phone with the slightest movement. For a few nights, nothing happened. I slept lightly, anxious but hopeful that maybe installing the system had scared off whoever or whatever had been messing with me. Then, 5 days later, I woke up to another unlocked door. The back door this time. I felt sick. The cameras should have caught something. I opened the app with shaking hands and scrolled through the night's footage. Nothing. No motion alerts. No recordings. But when I checked the live feed, all the cameras were working perfectly. It didn't make sense. I called a locksmith the next morning. He inspected the doors and told me everything was functioning normally. If someone's getting these open, he said, they have a key. That thought followed me for days. A key? Who would have won? The previous tenant? The landlord? Someone who worked maintenance years ago. I changed the locks anyway. For tonight's, everything stayed locked. On the third night, I woke up to the unmistakable sound of my downstairs bathroom faucet running. My stomach dropped so hard I felt dizzy. I eased out of bed, picked up the baseball bat I'd placed beside it, and crept to the stairs. The running water echoed upward, bouncing off the walls in a steady, mocking hiss. I hoped to hear movement, but it was dead silent aside from the faucet. Halfway down the stairs, a notification buzzed on my phone. Indoor camera. Motion detected. Finally, I thought. Evidence. I backed up into the safety of my room, locked the door, and opened the alert. The camera showed my living room. empty. Just as I began to think it was another glitch, something moved. Not a person, just the bathroom door. It swung open slowly, smoothly, as if someone was pushing it from the inside. I squinted at the screen, breath shallow, waiting for a figure. No one came out. After a few seconds, the faucet turned off on its own. The silence that followed felt thick and deliberate. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I waited until sunrise, packed a bag, and drove to my sister's place. She tried to talk me into staying with her until I could break the lease, but part of me needed answers. I returned that afternoon with her in tow. Everything looked normal. That's when she asked something I hadn't considered. "Have you checked the attic?" I stared at the ceiling hatch in the hallway. I almost never used the attic. There was nothing up there but insulation and a few storage bins from the previous tenant. Still, I pulled down the ladder. A smell hit me first, sour, humid, wrong. My sister covered her nose. "God, what is that?" I climbed the steps slowly. The attic wasn't big. You could see most of it from the opening. But in the far left corner, behind a stack of old boxes, something was off. A blanket, a half-eaten sandwich, a cup, and resting beside them a ring of keys, my keys. Some of them looked like duplicates. Others didn't match my locks at all. There were 12 in total, on a loop that jingled softly when I picked it up with trembling hands. My sister whispered, "Someone's been living up here." A cold realization crawled over me. The doors weren't being unlocked from the outside. They were being unlocked from inside the house by someone who had been hiding just a few feet above me. Every night, I moved out that same day. The police found no one when they searched the attic. Whoever had been there was gone. They said he must have slipped out when I left that morning, but they couldn't explain how he avoided every camera. Sometimes, late at night, I imagine the faint sound of my bedroom door creaking open. I never sleep without checking every lock twice, because keys can be copied, and people can disappear. But doors still open on their own.